This guy coming in at the far end of everything happening saying, hold on a minute. You're telling me there was a DNA match claiming 99.99% accuracy that Ilhan Omar married her brother, and the guy who posted it built a website and put it out there, gets arrested by the FBI on child sex charges within 24 hours. I had no idea this happened. I had no idea that there was some guy who put that information out there and built a website around it, and then said guy got arrested by the FBI. I had no idea this even happened. That's not a coincidence. That's absurd. A claim explosive enough to end a political career, instantly neutralized by an arrest so radioactive, it guarantees no one would ever touch the story again. Wrapped up, buried, and memory hold overnight. How did I never hear about this? And someone responded to him, here's the story. Miranda Devine, the statute of limitations on marriage fraud has run out, but not the statute of limitations on immigration fraud 2021. I feel like that should not be the case. I feel like the statute of limitations on marriage fraud, especially if they're a sitting politician, should be able to be applied.
Pleasure, Tucker. Well, some basically Republican operatives up in Minnesota decided to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on private investigators to really find out if Ilhan Omar was a genetic match, the DNA match, to the man who was her second husband. They went to 3 continents. They found a cigarette butt and a drinking straw, which they decided, they sent it to a DNA laboratory and found conclusively that the DNA matched, that the second husband was a sibling, according to this DNA sample. So the very day that they were going to unleash this on the world, and in fact I was interviewing one of the people involved, the FBI swooped on the gentleman, Anton Lazaro, from this Republican PAC up in Minnesota, and arrested him on some different charges. Who knows whether he's guilty or not guilty. I mean, he's not guilty until proven, but he's in jail. And so his story never got to see the light of day. I mean, luckily he'd told the FBI they were not interested. They told him the statute of limitations had run out. We managed to see the website before he took it down, before he was arrested, and managed to report the story such as it was.
I wonder, just kind of spitballing here, what will be more shocking to her fellow liberals? The fact that Ilhan Omar had an incestuous marriage to her own brother, or that she smokes cigarettes? Which will they be more stunned by?
Definitely the latter, and they've got photographs of her smoking the cigarette, so I don't think that's at all in doubt.
Yeah, incest is just a kind of alternate lifestyle, but smoking a cigarette, that's immoral. So just to be totally clear, she did marry her brother, we know that. Not only repulsive, but illegal, it's fraud. She's not been indicted, she's not going to be indicted, that's totally cool now?
Well, the FBI was told by one of these associates of these people that found the information and was just told no, that they've just decided the statute of limitations has run out on marriage fraud, even though there's no statute of limitations on immigration fraud.
Which again, this was in 2021. We've known about it for a long fucking time. And no one's done anything. No one's done anything. No one cares. Fucking worthless. You're so incredibly tired of hearing of people like Ilhan Omar being called a liberal. Nothing about her political positions is liberal. It's been really hard to train myself out of calling these people liberals. Because you're right, they're not. But we've been calling them liberal for a very long time. And they're just not. They've co-opted the Liberal Party and turned it into a gay race communism nightmare. Progressive Marxists. Yeah, I try my best to call them progressives at this point. Because that's definitely a better word to say. Progressives or Marxists, depending. I try my best not to say liberal. Meaning of the word liberal is lost because they co-opted the term a long time ago. Marxists and subversion. Name a more iconic duo. Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Omar says her son was pulled over by ICE. Democrat Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Omar said federal immigration agents pulled over her son on Saturday and asked him to prove his citizenship. Yesterday, after he made a stop at Target, he did get pulled over by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. Once he was able to produce his passport ID, they let him go, Omar said in an interview with Esme Murphy on WCCO Sunday morning. WCCO has reached out to ICE about the incident. The congresswoman said her son always carries his passport with him. Omar said ICE was also previously entered a mosque where her son and others were praying, but left without incident. After that, she said she had to remind him just how worried I am, because all of these areas that they're talking about are areas where he could possibly find himself in, and they are racially profiling. They're looking for young men who look Somali because they think they're undocumented. Well, we know how the scam works now. Earlier this month, federal agents surged into the Twin Cities with the stated goal of targeting undocumented Somali immigrants. The enhanced focus on the Somali community came after President Trump said he doesn't want them in our country and called Omar herself garbage. I mean, she is. She is garbage. Not because she's Somali, but because she's a garbage person. On Friday, Omar sent a letter to U.S. Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and Todd Lyons, acting director of ICE, accusing federal agents of blatant racial profiling and an egregious level of unnecessary force in the Twin Cities. It is clear to me that the surge came in direct response to Trump's racist comments about Somali people, and about me in particular, Omar wrote. U.S. Census Bureau data show Minnesota has the largest Somali population in the country, about 107,000 more than 80,000 of them living in the Twin Cities. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was like, that read weird. Minnesota has about 107,000 Somalis. More than 80,000 of those 107,000 live in the Twin Cities. Omar contends that over 90% of Somalis in America are U.S. citizens, citing an American community survey conducted by the Census Bureau that estimates about 22,000 Somalis in the country. Around 8.4% of the population are not citizens. When we know how much immigration fraud happens, her saying that doesn't matter. Especially her saying that after she married her brother to get him into the country. It does not matter if you say that. Omar was born in Somalia, came to the US as a child, and earned her citizenship in 2000. Earned. You're gonna be the richest 25-year-old, inshallah. CBS News obtained dozens of documents that reveal how Minnesota fraudsters spent hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars on luxury cars, villas, and overseas wire transfers, including to China. Luxury cars and private villas see how Minnesota fraudsters spent millions intended for hungry kids. Luxury cars, private villas, I'm going to read that probably 17 million more times in this article. And overseas wire transfers, CBS News obtained dozens of files and photos that reveal how Minnesota fraudsters blew through hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars as part of one of the biggest COVID-era fraud schemes. The files document a spending spree in which defendants, many of Somali descent, wasn't it all but one were of Somali descent? Wasn't it like one white woman and then like everyone else was a Somali? Took taxpayer money meant to feed hungry children and used it to buy cars, property, and jewelry. Videos show them popping champagne at an opulent Maldives resort, and in a text message, one defendant boasts, "You are going to be the richest 25-year-old, inshallah." Chat, I want to remind you, let's have like a little flashback noise right here. It's like, woo! I'd always wanted to go to the Maldives. Maldives are beautiful. They have the Sea of Stars. Azahara told me that they also apparently have that in Puerto Rico. He's trying to get me to Mud Hut Island. Maldives has the Sea of Stars. I've always wanted to go there. One year, before I became a streamer, I saw an article where a woman got arrested for wearing a bikini on the Maldives. And I was like, well, that's really weird. Everybody goes to the Maldives and it's like a beach resort island and like their main income is tourism. So how did a woman get arrested for wearing a bikini? And that's when I learned the Maldives is an Islamic nation, and you can wear bikinis on resort land, but if you exit the resort territory, you are now under the actual law of the Maldives. And if you're wearing a bikini, that is haram. That is not halal, and you will be arrested because you are indecent. And that's also when I learned that the Maldives have, or had, at least at the time, I do not know if this is still true in the year of our Lord 2025, but at one point the Maldives had the highest export of ISIS fighters. The Maldives is a Sunni Muslim country where Sharia law forms the basis of its legal system, requiring all citizens to be Muslim and making Islam the state religion. While civil law exists, judges must apply Sharia when the constitution or law is silent, and public expression, contrary to Islam, is restricted, though tourists have some latitude in private. Yes, true. The documents feature exhibits from a recent federal trial, many of which are being made public by CBS News for the first time. The exhibits include a confirmation email for a stay in an overwater villa with a private pool at Radisson Blu Resort, Maldives. This also triggered another memory flashback in me. I don't remember exactly what the fuck happened, but I made a tweet about the Maldives at one point recently. I think it was sometime either this year or the end of last year. And it was like something like the Maldives were like banning Jews from visiting the island or some shit. I don't remember exactly what happened. This is just like a vague memory pang. But like the Maldives did something to like ban people from the island. And I was like, wow, I'm so shocked that an island that has the highest export of ISIS fighters is being like bad to Jews or something. And one of the people who had been harassing me for ages, like quote retweeted that as some like evidence of me being anti-Semitic. And I was just like, are you fucking retarded? Like what? It was the Maldives have banned Israelis from visiting. Follow AF Post. And then I posted a screenshot. Based on the overall opinion there, this news isn't surprising. And I pulled up an article, an old article, 2017, where jihadists are heroes. The Maldives, although a non-Arab country, boasts the world's highest number of foreign fighters per capita. There, ISIS jihadists are seen as heroes. The Maldives, a quote here, "They're really brave, right?" the taxi driver says with pride. In Paris and Brussels and Tunis, if you mention ISIS jihadists to Muslims, they're all mortified. Almost apologetically, they say, they are out of their mind. But in the Maldives, the response is, they are heroes. Many Western tourists don't even realize this is a Muslim country. But the Maldives, although a non-Arab country, boasts the world's highest number of foreign fighters per capita. Around 200 out of its 400,000 citizens. The government denies it, but nearly every Maldivian has a brother, a cousin, or a friend in Syria. While the world watched the Olympics in August 2016, in the Maldives, they watched the battle for Aleppo, cheering on Al-Qaeda. And I posted the article in response, as I usually try to do. I always try to post source when I post things. What in the actual fuck was that article? It was talking about how the Maldives have a high export of ISIS fighters. And one of my aunties, I can't remember if it was like fucking the bintarded dude or if it was the fucking guy that pretends to be a himbo. I don't remember who it was, but someone was trying to claim that I was like anti-Semitic. And I was like, man, their reading comprehension is even worse than previously thought. I was just like, wow, using my eyes to notice something that's happening. Yeah, that's definitely anti-Semitic of me, Jesus. Lakefront property in Minnesota. Receipts showing wire transfers to China and East Africa. First-class tickets to Istanbul, Constantinople, and Amsterdam. A 2021 Porsche Macan. That just sounds like a bird. Stacks of cash texted between defendants. Just fucking stacks of cash, man. Just fucking stacks of cash. Government Exhibit J54, the lakefront home presented as evidence in a Minnesota fraud trial. That's crazy. At the sentencing of a defendant who used taxpayer funds for cars in the Maldives vacation, 24-year-old Abdimajid Mohamed Noor, U.S. District Judge Nancy E. Brazel admonished him, saying, "Where others saw a crisis and rushed to help, you saw money and rushed to steal." He was sentenced to 10 years in prison in order to pay nearly $48 million in restitution for his role in the fraud scheme. See, my biggest thing is when someone is ordered to pay back, like, restitution in that large of an amount, how do they even pay that? Like, to me, that just kind of puts a millstone on them and they'll never make another dollar in their meaningless, pitiful life. But they're never going to make enough money to pay that back. Like, that money's essentially fucking gone. And while I'm glad that they'll never be able to make another fucking dollar in their entire miserable life, it is very annoying to think of how that's just all gone, you know? Noor is one of the dozens who siphoned hundreds of millions in stolen taxpayer funds, with questions still swirling about where all the money went. The crime has drawn renewed attention in recent weeks, and House Republicans last week launched a probe into Minnesota Democratic Governor Tim Walz's handling of the cases. Considering how much fraud was going on directly under Tim Walz's nose, I wonder how much he was directly involved with and benefiting from. And the Treasury Department said it will investigate whether money made its way to Al-Qaeda affiliate Al-Shabaab, which is based in Somalia. A lot of money has been transferred from the individuals who committed this fraud, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Sunday on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. Much of that money has gone overseas, and we're tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been. Multiple federal investigators told CBS News that there is no evidence taxpayer dollars were funneled to al-Shabaab, and prosecutors have yet to present any evidence linking any of the fraudsters to terrorism. It'll be really funny if when it comes out, they're just like, oh, the money all went to this one guy. He supports al-Shabaab, but he's not part of the group, so, it didn't technically go to them. That'd be really funny if it turns out to be that. The vast majority of the money that these folks made went to spending on luxury items for themselves, said Andy Luger, the former U.S. attorney who led the office which prosecuted Noor and other related frauds from 2022 until January. There was never any evidence that this money went to fund terrorism, nor was there any evidence that that was the intent of the 70 people we indicted. One of the luxury cars presented as government evidence in a Minnesota fraud trial, is that the Porsche Macan? It's a really fucking ugly car. Why would you want that? A CBS News review of the files shows that defendants wired millions in stolen funds overseas, including to banks and companies in China. Officials said finding the ultimate recipients of money routed through China will be challenging because it can be an investigative black hole. The defendants also transferred nearly $3 million to accounts in Kenya. Lions and tigers, only in Kenya. Abdimajid Shafi Farah, 36, who was sentenced to 28 years in prison last month for his role in the scheme, made 6 separate wire transfers worth more than $1 million to banks in China between February and July 2021, according to records reviewed by CBS News. That's so fucking stupid that they just have, like, a box of stacks of money. This is absurd, dude. This photo of a text exchange presented in court shows a box stuffed with cash and a message saying $270,000. This is so fucking stupid. In one text, Farah instructed someone to please send $1,000 to Mogadishu, Bukhara, an apparent reference to a one-time al-Shabaab stronghold that was the site of the infamous 1993 Black Hawk Down incident in which 18 American service members died. Please, sir, please redeem 1,000 Mogadishu, please. Farah owned and operated Empire Cuisine and Market, a Minnesota restaurant that contracted with the nonprofit Feeding Our Future to cook and provide meals to children. Prosecutors say he and his co-defendants billed the state for $47 million, claiming to have served 18 million meals at more than 30 locations. But they didn't distribute a single meal. Hundreds of documents related to Farah's case detail how he spent money on luxury cars, investment properties at home and overseas, plus first-class travel to exotic destinations including Istanbul and the Emirates. The defendants used seaplanes to travel to resorts in the Maldives, where in one video, Farah is seen popping champagne at a private pool villa in July 2021. Screenshots of videos from a Maldives vacation presented as government evidence in the Minnesota fraud trial. Happy honeymoon? Man, even this fucking, like, deranged fraudster treats his woman better than any man I've dated. What the fuck? At Farah's sentencing, a judge said his crimes were motivated by pure, unmitigated greed. Farah's attorneys did not respond to CBS News' request for comment, including to a question about whether any of the fraud proceeds were diverted to al-Shabaab. Your Honor, my defendant is just incredibly selfish and narcissistic. Democratic Rep. Ilhan Omar said Sunday on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan that any link between allegations of fraud by members of the Somali community and terrorism would be a failure of the FBI. Well, if she's saying that, I believe there's more of a connection than there ever was before. If there was a linkage in the money that they have stolen going to terrorism, that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out, Omar said. I really hate this, like, fucking is that train of logic where it's like, if we scammed you, it's your fault for falling for it. We did nothing wrong by doing the scam. Infuriating. Just, like, retard logic to be working on. So far, federal prosecutors have convicted 61 people in the widening Minnesota fraud scandal. More investigations are ongoing. Somali man in Minnesota, Abdimajid Mohamed Noor, will face 10 years in federal prison after stealing $48 million in taxpayer funds, the largest fraud scam in history under Tim Walz's watch. Tim Walz just blamed white people for this. Kick him out of office.
Who we're talking about. Abdimajid Mohamed Noor. He's going to spend the next 10 years...
I'm sorry, say that again, lady?
Abdimajid Mohamed Nur. He's going to spend the next 10 years
Sounds like she's trying to
in
rap.
federal lockup after investigators say he took part in a $48 million COVID-19 pandemic scam. So this was part of a meal fraud scam, Trace. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars that were meant to feed hungry American kids on a lot of different things. They took stacks and stacks of cash like you're looking at here. They were blown on luxury cars. Let's buy an Audi. Let's buy a waterfront property out in Minnesota. And if you have time, let's go to a private villa out in the Maldives. That would be nice.
If you
That's
have
what
time.
they did, according to prosecutors. They showed these video clips, Trace, of the fraudsters popping bottles of champagne out on that luxury getaway.
She tried harder to say a terrorist scammer's name than the Game Awards tried to say Uma Musume. How did they pronounce that name on the Game Awards?
Police say the men were happy to be cashing in. They were texting each other, "You're going to be the richest 25-year-old, God willing." What is being called
Well, yeah, of course. Because, like, to these people, if they can scam you, you're a fucking idiot. And they're a genius. Like, of course they're going to celebrate it. Like, what the fuck do you think?
largest fraud scam in history. It happened on Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's watch. Today, the Democrat who ran for vice president launched a fraud prevention program. Critics say that's a little too late. The White House has slammed him for failing not just his state of Minnesota, but the country. He pushed back.
You can't have one without the other. Any amount of fraud is too much. That's why over the last several years, we've made many systematic changes to state government to both detect fraud and hold those accountable after it happened. Year after year, we brought new ideas to the legislature to stay ahead of the evolving tactics, and they are evolving.
Okay, so it doesn't stop there, though. Prosecutors.
What? I don't know about Eric Doherty saying Tim Walz blamed white people. I didn't hear him say that, but he was just like, yeah, the government, we've done things to try and prevent this, but I don't believe you, Tim Walz. I don't believe you, Tim Walz. Any amount of fraud is too much until it comes to an election. Any amount of fraud is too much if we get caught. Otherwise, keep doing it. Inside AOC's near $50,000 spending spree, including renting concert venue Bad Bunny performed at, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dropped almost $50,000 on hotels and meals in Puerto Rico in the third quarter of this year, as well as renting a San Juan venue where she was caught on tape grooving at an August Bad Bunny concert. AOC's principal campaign committee shelled out $680.52 on July 28th to stay at the lavish Hotel Palacio Provincial, along with another $1,507.26 on August 29th, and a whopping $9,440.79 on September 29th, according to third quarter federal campaign finance filings. Even as the squad rep on her social media accounts denounced gentrification that was taking place on the island. Gentrification bad if done by people I can gain pity points from denouncing. Gentrification good if I do it.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dropped nearly $50,000 on hotels and meals in Puerto Rico in the third quarter of this year, as well as renting a San Juan venue where she was caught on tape grooving at a Bad Bunny concert. According to a campaign finance report from the third quarter, which records campaign expenses for members of Congress between July 1st and September 30th, AOC's principal campaign committee forked over roughly $15,489 for lavish lodgings in Puerto Rico, even as the squad member on her social media accounts denounced gentrification that was taking place on the island.
She recorded it and she posted it. I think the most infuriating thing is when like these like politician people, they post something smugly and gloating about how much they can get away with, and you can do nothing about it but scream into the void because all of the other politicians either don't care or are complicit. And everyone else is just like, actually, you're crazy. That's not what's happening. She's not smug. She's not gloating. That's not what's happening. It makes me so angry. Like, even in everyday, like, normal situations when I'm just like, hey, this dumb bitch has been a dumb bitch, and now she's gloating about having been a dumb bitch because you're dumb enough to have fallen for it. And then I get told, no, she's not gloating. Why would she do that? It makes me want to strangle people in Quine Bobs.
Such stays included the adults-only Hotel Palacio Provincial and the Hotel El Convento, a 19th century property touting its old world charm and elegance, the Federal Election Commission filings show. At least $10,743 was also spent on meals and catering services on August 25th and September 29th, per the FEC filings for that period. Elsewhere on the island, the 34-year-old Bronx and Queens Democrat danced alongside Brooklyn Rep. Nadia Velasquez at an August 10th Bad Bunny concert held in San Juan as part of the rapper's residency tour. Ocasio-Cortez's campaign spent more than $23,000 on, quote, venue rental at the same location, the Coliseo de Puerto Rico, on June 24th and August 25th. It's unclear, however, whether the expenses were related to the Bad Bunny shows. A campaign manager for the Congresswoman, Oliver Hidalgo Woliben, responded in a statement to Fox News, who first reported the filings, that Ocasio-Cortez regularly travels to Puerto Rico to support local causes and host events that require both staff and security. She is deeply proud of her investment in grassroots organizing and will continue to be active in advocating for both people on the island and the millions of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, Hidalgo Woliben added. Throughout the third quarter, the Ocasio-Cortez campaign spent thousands of dollars more on various boutique hotel stays and expensive food vendors on the U.S. mainland, including as part of her Fighting Oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders. Those outlays included $6,600 for stays at the Hotel Vermont in Burlington, while other expenses included $6,300 for a meal at Italian restaurant Ama in the Capitol's Navy Yard.
I will never understand how you spend that much money on food. Like, if it was like a massive fucking party, I guess I could understand it. But it's still just like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Bernie and AOC are the oligarchs, yeah? Yeah. It's always very amusing just how materialistic and above everyone these self-identified, like, socialist communist people find themselves. Like, every single commie always thinks they will be a part of the elite ruling class and they can do whatever the fuck they want while making lives miserable for all of the plebs. Caviar's not cheap.
Neighborhood. Another $11,500 was shelled out for dining in D.C., Vermont, the Bronx, as well as Latham, New York ice cream company Mr. Dingaling.
Was that a gay ice cream bear? What the fuck? Just got flashbanged. I'm not very surprised that she's spending taxpayer money that way, to be fair. Jasmine Crokett said, "We need illegals in the U.S. because, quote unquote, we done pickin' cotton."
What?
It's a very interesting thing to say, Miss Crokett. Very interesting thing to say, that we need slaves. Just my race shouldn't be the slaves. So it's very interesting. Maybe that's why countries in Africa still practice slavery. I don't know, lady. That's a very weird thing to say.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation. I know that's right. So I had to go around the country.
I can't believe someone actually hit her with a, I know that's right. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Please.
That's right.
What an insanely tone-deaf thing to say. Like, how this woman gets elected is just crazy to me. This could be the new Kamala act. It does sound like an SNL sketch. It sounds like an SNL sketch, but unfortunately this is just real life. She's unironically arguing for slavery. Didn't you know? Slavery is only bad when it's my people being enslaved. Slavery is good if we are the enslavers. It's like such a fucking crazy worldview to have. Here's a video. I was surprised as hell to see this. Dude starts asking the teacher questions, which she has no problem answering, until they're questions she doesn't want to hear. After saying that the school will defend illegals from ICE, she asks him for identification. He catches her up, and she's not happy about it.
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Yeah.
Hi. Do you work here?
Yes, I do.
Are you a teacher here?
I am. I teach third grade.
Okay, I have a question.
I don't know who this guy is, but this is like the perfect fucking disguise to catch like the progressives off guard. Like, they would never think you're some kind of conservative if you look like this. This is beautiful. I hope this is a disguise, because I have no idea who this man is.
Just moved here with my daughter into the neighborhood, and I was wondering if this was a good school.
Yeah, I think it's a great school.
Okay, so my daughter, she just came out as queer to me, and I was just wondering if this would be a safe learning environment for her. Or...
We actually have a lot of identifying non-binary and gender queer students here, so I think she'd fit in just fine.
Okay, and I saw that you...
How can you say that you have a lot of genderqueer students there at an elementary school? What?
I have a sign in the window. It says everyone's welcome here except ICE.
Yes.
If ICE were to come onto the premises, would you guys kick them off?
Absolutely. We believe in the safety of our students and our faculty, so we would have them leave.
Okay. Isn't that how immigration works?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that how immigration works? Everyone's welcome except illegals, and if they come into the country, we kick them out?
Why are you asking me these questions?
Well,
she's just like, you can't ask those questions when you look like that.
Simple question. You should be able to answer it. You're a teacher.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. You're filming.
You don't need to know who I am. I'm undocumented, ma'am.
You're
Oh, I love when the bluff is called.
on school property, and technically you're trespassing.
Ma'am, no one's trespassing on illegal land, so...
That's true. That's true, ma'am. You're gonna kick ICE out, all right? No human being is illegal. Yeah, you don't need to see my documentation if they don't need documentation, lady.
You haven't shown me an ID. I don't know.
Oh, so now you need my papers?
Yes, you're on school.
Are you
What
the
a
Gestapo
fascist.
now? You want to see my papers?
No, but again, our property, you're trespassing. You've shown no form of ID.
Ma'am, you don't need to know who I am. I am fleeing a bad school district in search for a better one. Have a little sympathy.
Unless you can show me proper identification, I'm getting security.
So you're going to call security to take me out simply because I'm an undocumented person on
Yes,
your property?
Yes.
Isn't that how immigration works?
I'm asking you to move out of my way.
Like we do with illegal criminals that come into our country.
Provide me an ID of who you are.
As we do with illegals that come into our country.
Or I'm getting security to remove you from the
As we
property.
do with ICE when we remove them from our country.
I'm asking you to move out of my way. This conversation is no longer.
Okay, bye.
I don't know who that guy is, but I love him and his ability to camouflage. Holy shit. Absolute destruction. That was beautiful. That was fucking... I have no idea who he is, but base, dude. Fucking got him. Okay, bye. This conversation is over. I hate the is a pretty good red flag. If they hit you with the they're trying to camouflage. Always notice. That guy is a professional shithead. You fucking love him. That was beautiful. Professional shitlording, dude. Oh my god. That's Josh Salter. He pretended to be trans like a year ago to troll. Wait. Is that the like weird fucking bodybuilder guy who like started just taking pictures of himself in like teeny tiny dresses and then went on like a podcast circuit? Is it that guy? Oh, that guy's weird though. That guy's fucking weird though. There was something I remember watching after he did that. And I remember thinking he was really fucking weird for it. And I can't remember what that video is anymore. Fuck! Certified weird classic. But you know what? He gets a pass for this video. This video's kind of based. A police sergeant in the UK is unable to sleep, drive, or even dress herself after a Palestine Action activist bashed her in the back with a sledgehammer. This morning, Rashida Tlaib voiced her concern over members of this group being detained.
You're
Right?
me!
Get on the floor!
It's crazy how the British accent can be so undecipherable sometimes that this just made me think that I was watching that fucking, what is that show called? What is that show called with like the racist princess and the sassy black cat lady and the racist Pokemon stereotype? Chat, my brain, I need help. Drawn together, thank you, chat. You're beautiful, you're wonderful, thanks for being my memory. I just sounded like she was part of Drawn Together and she was sounding, no, bing ling! But she's British, so you know, I don't know, fucking British accent, man.
Right.
Can you just please?
Stop.
Ow!
Messing
No,
around.
that really hurt.
Yes, you're messing.
Ow, my
Taser, taser! Come, we need more. We've had 2 tasers. We've been hit with hammers.
We've had 2 tasers. We're being hit with hammers. How can he still sound so gay? What is the British police force?
Excuse me,
Can you just stop educating me? You're literally standing on me.
Right.
Yeah, if you're attacking the officers with hammers, I don't really think I care if he's standing on you. I'm gonna be real fucking honest.
Right. Yeah, Kate, you right?
What the f***, you idiot?
Yeah, I don't really think I care if you have broken this officer's spine because you're a fucking freak. Like, what? Typical leftist playing the victim even after doing this. I mean, it wins, doesn't it? Even if they are the perpetrators of the violence and the harassment, as long as they claim victim, there will be people to circle the wagons and take their side. I've personally seen this happen. They cry as they strike you every single fucking time, and it's incredibly obnoxious. Reuters put out, scientists in the UK poured cold water on a long-standing myth that people of African, Caribbean, and Asian heritage cannot float because of heavy bones. I have never heard this myth. I don't think I've heard a single fucking person ever say this in my life. So I don't know where this supposed long-standing myth comes from. I am just intensely confused. First post, best post though. I can't float either because of my heavy bone.
Scientists in the UK say new research undermines a popular belief that people of African, Caribbean, and Asian heritage have heavier bones, making it harder for them to float in
Also,
water.
she's not really floating here either,
The research
so
was
I'm
led by the Black
extra
Swimming
confused.
Association and carried out at the University of Portsmouth. Established 5 years ago, the association aimed to dispel this widely believed myth. Sarah Jones from the BSA says...
Wait a minute. These people are talking about how this is a widely held belief that some minority groups have heavier bones and thus they cannot float in water. And this researcher man has HH on his jacket? I don't know, chat. I feel like there might be some dots to connect here.
Clear where the myth first originated.
Now, we thought if we could put this myth, which over time felt more like a belief to science, prove that this is not the case.
It's so popular believed that people just thought it was science. Who? Where was this coming from?
We could actually remove an obstacle that exists between black and brown communities who feel disengaged with swimming and aquatics. And not just the aquatic sector, but we could also change their relationship.
If someone told me, Kirsche, you're a fox, your bones are too dense, you can't swim, I would be like, fuck you, I'm gonna swim if I want to. Like, how would that discourage people?
Dr. Heather Massey from the University of Portsmouth says on average people of black heritage do have a higher bone mineral density.
So, this may be where the myth is, or perpetuates that myth, but we've proven with this research that even individuals with...
So... it's a myth that they can't float because of higher bone density, but she just confirmed that it was a scientific fact that they do have higher bone density. The more I listen, the more confused I become.
Higher bone mineral density are able to float successfully in water.
Statistics show black children in England are 3 times more likely to drown than white children.
That's not... She's not floating. This isn't floating.
Show black children in England are 3 times more likely to drown than white children.
We know that 96% of adults in England do not swim regularly. We know that water safety isn't prioritised in schools, in local swimming clubs.
Water safety wasn't prioritized when I went to school either, but like, my mother is a terrible fucking person. And my mother, when I was a child, took me to swimming classes for children at a local high school. We would use the high school pool to, like, I guess continue our knowledge from floating inside the womb and learn how to swim that way. I was terrified of the water when I was like 2 years old, man. I was fucking terrified. I cried a lot. I don't know. I was a fussy baby.
and in after-school programs either. So when we're looking at the broader picture of things, Black and Asian communities face a higher risk of drowning.
The study found with proper instructions, 90% of participants could float successfully for 2 minutes.
Which makes sense, right? Like, I feel like even if that lady said earlier that some races of people have like a higher bone mineral density, I can't imagine that density would be enough to cause them to not float.
Body composition analysis assessed factors that
See,
affect buoyancy and tested different floating techniques.
That other lady was not floating.
The results indicated body fat percentage rather than bone density is a factor in buoyancy, though not the sole determinant of one's ability to float. Jones says the way Britain teaches floating needs to change from a one-method-for-all approach.
Floating is unique and bespoke to everybody depending on their unique body composition. But as long as your face is up and you are breathing and you are safe and you are able to keep your airways open and receive oxygen, you are floating.
The BSA
What?
hopes the research will help improve attitudes to swimming in Black and Asian communities and encourage more people to learn how to float.
I have another question. What Asian communities don't swim? Like, I know the like stereotype of like Black people don't swim, right? Like I've heard that stereotype. But what Asians don't swim? They mean the Middle Eastern Asian? Oh yeah, that might be fair. But why? I've never heard that stereotype either. I forgot that fucking in the UK they call them Middle East Asian. Assume the ones who are inland a bit more than coastal? Your friend is Filipino, or your friend has a Filipino wife that won't swim. Weird. I feel like if I live in a country that has a lot of like tsunamis and hurricanes and typhoons, I would want to know how to swim. That just like you might not be able to survive because of the force of the winds, but like knowing how to swim would be a good idea, would it not? North Korea, you can't escape. Tibet, because no fun allowed, only enlightenment. If you get hit by a tsunami, you just die. Oh my god. Zoom Africa, 593.8 thousand followers. 24/7 on beautiful animals, places, people, tribes, lifestyles, news, and fact historical stories in Africa. DM for promotions. This is the real Jingle Bell. Many Africans celebrate it during Christmas, often singing the popular song, Jingle Bells. However, history tells a painful story. These bells were once placed on African ancestors to prevent their escape. If anyone tried to flee during the night, the sound of the bells made it easier for dogs and captives to track them. Today, Africans sing and celebrate this song alongside the descendants of colonialists, often unaware that it symbolizes the suffering endured by our ancestors. And if you're thinking right now, that sounds kind of ridiculous. That sounds kind of untrue, actually. That sounds so far out of the realm of reality, I can't believe someone wrote it. Not only are you not a racist, but you would be completely right. The song Jingle Bells, written in 1857 by James Lord Pierpont as One Horse Open Sleigh, celebrates sleigh bells on horse-drawn sleighs during winter festivities in Massachusetts. I know that place! And has no connection to bells used on enslaved Africans to prevent escape. Oh, God. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh. I wonder how that line refers to slavery. I bet you're gonna have some, like, fucking crazed fetishist be talking about how it's, like, some sort of sexual innuendo. Alright, I don't know, man. Those people are freaks. Once again, the supply of racism is deeply outpaced by the demand. Hey, yo, real paddle hours. True.